Okay. Well, I'm not saying that's right again, so it's fine. But okay, how was everyone's day yesterday? Did anyone find any money? Any money come to you? Are all you guys on live right now? Have you all received over $1,000 unexpectedly or no? Lindsay has not. Okay. Anyone else? Crystal has not. Kristen has not. Oh, good. I'm glad. And Erin has not, right? Okay, this is like the call of all of us rejects because I was like, why is everyone else getting their money and I'm not? Like, what am I doing wrong? Um, okay, and then Lindsay and Carol and Kala, well, Kala already got her money, but Lindsay and Carol, if you want to put in the chat, if you did receive any unexpected money lately. But okay, so well, I want to ask you guys first. Do you have any idea or any like gut feeling of why this hasn't happened for you yet? Like is there like a limiting belief that you've been believing or something that you're just hanging on to or still worried about or like what do you feel deep down could be the reason why you haven't gotten the $1,000 yet? Oh yeah, Erin, I'm so excited. Yeah, Erin signed her ambassador yesterday. Yay. I know, so excited. Okay, Lindsay, this is good. I don't know if I believe it can happen. This is super good. So, this is one of the things that I've realized is that it's not that we're not, how do I word this? It's not that we're not receiving the money, like the money, or it's not that the money isn't there. The money is there. It's just waiting to come, but we are blocking it by either thinking a certain way and that is literally repelling this money to want to come be with us. So if you don't believe that this is going to happen, you're not going to be as in tuned and opened, listening and looking for clues and following opportunities that come in front of you to find the money. Yeah, like having that belief. So do you actually have the book, Lindsay, or no? Okay, I would definitely say to get the book. And it was like $15 on Amazon or something. Yeah, I don't even know. It wasn't that expensive. And I would go through it because you don't actually have to going through the chapters itself takes like 15 minutes. It's like super fast to do this every day. So the book is called Unleash Your Inner Money Babe. For anyone who's like watching this on the recording or whatever. But it's by Catherine Zenkina. Zenkina. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. I don't know. But I would, if you feel like, okay, this just isn't working for me and I'm not getting results with this yet, then I would say that you probably do have some pretty strong limiting beliefs and some pretty strong things going on for all of us. We don't even realize it. And so we're the people who need the book the most. And to go through this again and keep going through it and going through it and going through it. I am going to run a Facebook group on this again in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure when, but I'm going to do it after, I don't know, maybe after Bloom, after May is over. But I'm going to do this again. So if you want to hop in and you want to be a part of it again to experience it, then I think that that's just something that we need to take an extra step into doing this. So I realized for me why I didn't get this is my like gut feeling deep down was that I didn't even know if I was getting the money or not. Like I could have been getting the money, but I was so unorganized with my finances and neglected them just so much, just didn't care that I didn't know. And I shared that with some of you guys on the morning call over the last couple of days. And so yesterday, I really sat down and dug into our bank account and was putting all of our bills on an Excel sheet and how much they were and when they were due and trying to get everything set up to auto pay and out of the right account and all this stuff. And you know what I found? I found 6 subscriptions that I had that I didn't know I had that I don't even know. A couple of them were from last October. Okay. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 8 months of having a subscription. I had 6 subscriptions that I didn't know about. And they weren't even things that I'd ever signed up for. And I don't know how we got them, but they were there. There were like HBO, Stars, PBS Kids, literally all of these things. Some of them I was paying $15.99 for 2 different Amazon Music accounts. I was paying $15.99 for a Stars account, $15.99 for HBO, literally for the last 8 months. All of these that I just neglected to look into my bank account and all my stuff, and all of that was coming out and didn't even need to. So I called Amazon. Luckily, they were all subscriptions through Amazon, and Amazon's just the best. And I was just super, super nice to the girl and just was like, please, you have to help me. Like, do something. I'm trying to get my life together. Like, please just help me. And they were able to refund 3 months worth of all the subscriptions for me. I know, isn't that so nice? So like that was money that I felt like, okay, this came to me. Like I just had to do a little bit of work. I just had to like step into figuring out my problem, and then things like that happened. Or there was some other things too that we looked in there where I was like, why are we paying this? That doesn't make sense. Like some stuff for our business. I'm like, that's not right. I shouldn't be paying $1,400 a month for this like tax thing that we're doing. And so he's like, yeah, you're right. That doesn't make sense. We need to call him. I think that there's a mistake on that. I'm like, yeah, I think so too. So it's just really cool to like dig in and be able to do this. And then remember how I don't know who was on that call, but I shared some stuff about John and how it's just discouraging that he just doesn't like believe and isn't positive like me. And it's something that I'm constantly battling and trying to get him to like see the glass half full. And so by me taking over all of the financial stress from him, I have seen a huge change in him, like where he has just been so much more loving, and like called me yesterday just to talk. And we talked for like an hour on the phone while he was driving to his next job. And like we usually don't talk throughout the day. And I just felt like he wanted to communicate more with me. He wanted to be more open and just felt more connected to me because now I was addressing this issue that I've had for a long time. And I was really trying to fix it. And I was showing him that. So, you know, that probably makes him feel good. So it's like really like when you get your money good, it's like everything else around your life is going to start to get good too. It's not just like, oh, now I have money. You know, it's not about that. So it's more like the ideas and the thoughts and things. Are you worried that money's going to run out? Are you worried that you're not going to have anything provided for you? In the book today, she talks a little bit about, it's actually a kind of like a lengthier chapter, so we're going to cover it for a little bit longer. But before we do that, I wanted to read this up here. Where is it? Okay, so Carol says, I received unexpected money back in February, $16,000, and then again in April of $300. That is awesome. Oh, that is so cool. So, oh, and you have the title. Lindsay, did you get the title that I said it again? Okay. I just want to make sure. April said something that she read was that if you're manifesting something and it's not coming forth, there's definitely a block. And she says to close your eyes and be super quiet and just ask, what is my block? I swear it will be revealed. So if you, and that actually goes exactly with what we're talking about today. This is going to answer your question. So yesterday we had to write down all of the things that you had value of yourself, the things that you could give value, the experiences that you have, you know, things like that. Did you guys find that easy or hard to do? Easy or hard?
I think it's hard a little bit.
Why did you feel like it was hard?
I don't know. I think that I've just always struggled a little bit with like self-worth and or confidence. So it's easy for me to point out value in other people, but not as easy to find it in myself.
Mhm.
So I can name like a few things, but when you talk about 15, 20, 100, that's a lot.
Oh, I know. When she said that, like some people do 100, and I was like, okay, this is like really hard. Like, I felt like it was really hard. Kala says it was easy. April, do you think it was hard?
I do. I absolutely feel the same way, that it's really hard for me to like, I don't know, like boast on myself is almost what I felt like. But with her examples and us talking about it yesterday, that's what made it easier. Cause I'm like, I don't know, I guess I don't see value in some of the just things that I do, you know, like how I always tell you, I'm like, you always include people. Like we're going to the airport, you're like, okay, well, we're gonna have like 6 people, like let's make sure everybody fits, like just thinking ahead that nobody's going to be, you know, in an Uber by themselves. Like that is an incredible quality and something I never would have been like, oh, I add value by doing that.
Right. I didn't write that down. You know.
See, you didn't even think about it,
I
but
know.
that's an incredible quality. And sometimes people wouldn't even think about doing something like that. Or like, do we have enough chairs at lunchtime for people to like sit with us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote down all my big things at first, like my big accomplishments. Like I grew a 6-figure team. I started my own brand. I started a podcast, coaching, things like that. And then I was like, I had like 10 things written down and I was like, okay, now what? Like, what else do I write down? And so then what I started thinking of, April, and this might help you, is because, and I guess I'm around like young adults all the time. I don't know why, because I don't have young adults in my house. So you would think if I had young adults, they'd be around me, but I feel like God just puts young adults in my path all the time. And I'm feeling more and more drawn to like speak to that generation. And all of these young adults keep coming into my life, and I feel like I can give them so much advice because I've been there. Like our nanny is looking right now to move out. And so I have so much advice to give her. Like, oh my gosh, here, let me tell you, this is what you need to do. She also is about to turn 18 and she's going to get her own bank account. So I was like, oh my gosh, here's what you need to do. What, baby? Okay, be really quiet. Okay, go ahead. Okay, she's going to be really quiet. It was a sad day in our house yesterday because she bit a hole through her last pacifier she had. Yeah, and they're done. They're gone. I told her the first one, she cut the top off with scissors. She climbed up on to the desk and grabbed the scissors and cut it, and literally cut it. And the whole top came off, and she was like mortified, like, oh my gosh, it's gone. So I was like, well, if your other ones get damaged. And then yesterday, yeah, she brought it to me crying because it had a hole in it and she doesn't want it anymore now. So yay. We're officially out of our pacifier stage. And I just said yesterday to Kayla, our nanny, I said, hopefully she ruins one soon and we can just be done with this. And then it was like a couple hours later and she did it. So I spoke that into existence. I was so glad. But okay, now she interrupted me and now I forgot my train of thought. What was I talking about? Because I feel like it was good. I needed to finish my thought. Anyone remember?
Kayla moving out.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, so I can give her advice. I can give this other girl at church was talking about plugging into a ministry and how do you know like what to start serving in the church. I'm like, oh, I can tell you. So if you just feel like who could I give advice to? Or like who could I offer up advice to? Like if you have kids, you can, nobody's here. So you need to, oh, Skylar wants to say hi, but she doesn't have any clothes on. Okay, you need to stop interrupting me though, okay? Because I'm trying to talk. Okay, we'll just stop talking. Okay, so anyone that you really have experience with, April, that you could talk to. Like you have a kid, so you can talk about that. You have girls and boys, so you can talk about that, because some of us only have girls and some of us only have boys. You're a hockey mom. You have experience in hockey. You can help anyone get started in how to play hockey. Or, hey, my kid wants to do hockey. What should they do next? You're like, oh, this is exactly what you need to do. Okay, go ahead. Thank you. Like think more of like, who could you offer up advice to? Like, I feel like I'm really good at grocery shopping. I know it sounds funny, but like, I feel like I'm really good at putting together, like figuring out what we need from the grocery store real quick, like, and making it super organized and easy. And like, that's something that I have value of. So when she says that she can list 100 things, it's because I think that she's sitting here for a while, really digging deep, thinking like, you know, I have value. I can do this. So that was the first thing. Yeah, maybe you thought it was easy. Maybe you thought it was hard. Any kind of time that women are told to list good things about themselves is hard. And I hate that, by the way. I would love for that to end. I also would love for it to end where we don't just bond over like woman to woman connection about complaining and relating about crappy things in our life, but instead like talking about the good things in our life. Like if you walked into a relationship with a new friend and you were like, oh my gosh, my husband and I, like we had so much fun yesterday and we go on dates every week and we're so happy and it's great. You would be like, okay, that person's just like boasting and they're bragging and that's annoying. Like, oh yeah, your life's so great all the time. That's our first initial thought. So instead it's like, oh yeah, my husband, yeah, he didn't even take out the garbage. Yeah, well, my husband, like that's how women bond. Like, why are we bonding over that? Why are we, you know, why are we being like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, my house is a total disaster and I don't have it together and I'm overwhelmed and yeah, we do need to vent and stuff, but there's a difference between venting and then that's like what your relationship's built on. And so it's just a lot of things that I'm starting to realize, but we have a lot more value than we even think. But there is a block. April's right. There absolutely is a block. And she talks about that in here. Actually, the chapter of this today is squashing limiting beliefs. And so I believe that she put this chapter right after the last one, because for all of the people that felt like it was hard to do this, and also, well, all of us that feel like this was hard to do, it's because we have more limiting beliefs than other people. Also, if you still haven't received your $1,000 yet on day 16, 17 that we're on, you probably have a lot of limiting beliefs. That's why you haven't received it. The people who got it like right away are like, April probably found the 10 grand on the ground. Day one. She's like, oh my gosh, it was just under my car, this whole bag, and it said to April. So, you know, if you've been doing this for a while, but that's exciting too, because April's been doing this for a lot longer than me. So she hasn't even been doing it very long either. So, April, I definitely like, I just think that it's so cool that you haven't really been doing this for that long and you've already made so many changes. You've already grown so much. And I am going to have April as a guest on my podcast because I want her to share that story, because it's actually like super incredible of where she was and how she changed it and where she is now. Like she became a completely different person, and it just gives me hope that there's like, you know, there's other people out there doing this, that I can turn it around. John can turn it around. I want to give this book to my mom, because reading this, I was like, oh my gosh, my mom needs to do this. Like, this is crazy. Because in this chapter, I realized where my problem is. So listen up. Anything that pops into your head, like, oh, this could be my issue, this could be holding me back. Like if anything just pops into your head, just write it down real quick, just so it's there. And then you can go back to that thought and think about it later. But okay, she starts off by saying, do you have a desire to become really rich, where you have this goal in your head where you want to be a millionaire or a multimillionaire? You want to have boats and vacation houses, and you want to travel the world and create stuff and all of that. Like, is this your original thought? And it is for me. I've always wanted to live a big life not just have a lot of stuff, but I want to be able to travel where I want to, visit different cultures, show my kids different cultures. I want to experience everything this world has to offer and never not experience it because of money or because someone else told me I can't, like a boss. So I'm like, I need to make tons of money so I can do that. So what about that little voice in our head though, that keeps repeating that if you want a lot of money, you must be greedy? Because some of us are like, no, I don't want a lot of money, because you're thinking of that greedy feeling. And that is my mom. That's when I remember that. My mom like never wants to seem greedy, or that even like when she was in Q and she would hit promotions, she wouldn't even let me post her promotion on Facebook because she never wanted anyone to think that she was just like in this for the money, or look at me over here, like ever. She doesn't even post selfies of herself because she doesn't want people to think she's conceited. She's like riddled with like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think of me? And it like holds her back in so much in life. And so that was like, I was like, oh my gosh, that's totally my mom. And it's a lot of people because we were raised to believe that. And we also have this voice in our head that says, you have to be a slave to money in order to earn enough of it. Like, oh, do you want to be a millionaire? Yeah, but I don't want to be a slave to money. I don't want to have to work like that. I don't want to have those crazy hours and stuff. So some, if not all of your limiting beliefs about money are going to be squashed in this chapter, like all the lingering ones that we have. I wanted to read this part in here. So you see consciously, we are aware of what's going on with our beliefs. We know we have a crazy story about money. We can see that it's taking a toll on our finances, but subconsciously we can't stop seeing money as dirty. We heard our entire lives that rich people are greedy and money is hard to earn. So therefore, we don't want to become slaves, and there's no way in hell we want to be labeled as greedy. So we believe that because that's what we've been told. That's what we've heard. It's always been super taboo as I was growing up talking about money. You know, your parents probably told you like, oh, Alicia, don't talk about money in front of people. Or even Luke, we were out to dinner with Jake one time, and I had my kids with me and John, and Luke said, do you live in like a really big house? And Jake was like, it's kind of big. And Luke's like, how much money was it? And I'm like, Luke, don't ask that. Like, don't ask it. Jake's like, it's okay. He can ask it. He's just curious. I'm like, no, you don't ask that, because I was like instantly embarrassed. Like, oh my God, please do not ask Jake how much money his house was. Like, that's so bad. And of course I'm exaggerating. It's the truth of what he said, but I'm exaggerating the point. Like, sometimes there's a good place to talk about and sometimes there's not, but we instantly are like, oh my gosh, don't talk about money. Like, stop talking about money. It's like makes us feel uncomfortable when people start talking about that. It's also very common in network marketing where spouses, and this is how John was in the beginning, spouses get really embarrassed about you talking about money on social media. They're like, you shouldn't be talking about the money you're earning, or you shouldn't be talking about the boat. Or like when we bought John his dream truck he's always wanted, and I put on there like, I've worked hard to earn this truck for John. I wanted to buy him this with my business. Like I put that out there, and he's like, I don't know. I just feel like why are we sharing stuff like that? Like, cause he doesn't understand that we're showing people like, this is possible. You can go out and do it. And so it's because, you know, just how he was wired his whole life. So that's very common for spouses to feel like that, or for that to be holding you back in network marketing. Like, I don't want it to be all about me. But as you can see, it's a limiting belief. So the definition of a limiting belief is a belief that is limiting us. But think about it that way. Like, it's just a belief that's holding us back. That's it. That's all that a limiting belief is. But they're the reason that we never get the courage to make the phone call, to get in front of the potential, to get on the stage, to quit our job, to start the business. It's the thing that's limiting you. It's the thing that's holding you back. You're on a leash and you're trying to get there and it's pulling you back. So this is what it's doing. where you are in your business right now. And I talked about on our team call last night, if you go on to, oh, it's not posted yet. It'll be posted soon, but I'll post the recording. And if you need to watch it, or if you're not on our team and didn't get on, you can go on my YouTube channel and find it. It was done on May 3rd. And it was all about that. All about where you are right now is where you are. There's something that you're not learning. There's something you're missing. There's something that's holding you back. And you just have to figure out what it is. And so it's one of these limiting beliefs. So beliefs are just the thoughts that we keep thinking to ourselves over and over and over again in our head. And so in order to change the belief, we must find the source first, or the initial thought that we're having, and consciously replace it with a new thought. So turn the new empowering thought into a powering belief. She goes through 6 steps that will help you to do this. Now, I'm going to take a picture of these and I'm going to post them in the group so that you guys can have them, so that you can, because you really have to like look at the question and then really put some thought into this. This is going to be a very thought-provoking assignment today. But she goes through 6 questions. Why is it called? Oh, it's 8. I was like, why is it called 6 and there's 8? An 8-step process to squashing any limiting belief. And she goes through the 8 steps. And then she gives you an example story so that you can follow. So I'm going to tell you her example, and I'm going to ask the questions, and I'm going to give you her answers. And then this is what you're going to be doing for yourself. So the first question is identify the limiting behavior that's holding you back. Her limiting behavior, when she wrote this, right before she wrote this manifesting workbook, her limiting behavior was working nonstop, about 18 hours a day, feeling like if I stopped working, the money flow would just also stop. So she was working herself to death, working like crazy, and thinking if she slowed down, the money would stop. So that's the initial thought. So question number 2 is isolate the underlying limiting belief. What do you have to believe to be true in order to keep repeating the same limiting behavior? So her limiting belief, so the first one's limiting behavior. Her limiting behavior is nonstop working. Her limiting belief is that money only comes from working hard and struggling. That's like what she thinks. Like, if I'm not working hard and struggling, I'm not going to make money. And this is a very common issue. Like that's why I love that she used this example, because I'm sure almost every single one of us can relate to this, because we were raised to grow up and to get a 9 to 5 and work 9 to 5, 40 hours a week. And this is what you're supposed to do. But that was so long ago when that was first released to the world, when the industrial revolution and all of that started. Like that was like, okay, 9 to 5, we're going to go out there, we're going to get me a job, I'm going to work real hard, I'm going to earn an honest living. But why do you feel like you have to work 9 to 5 to be successful? How come you can't work your job from 9 to 12 and get all the same things done and be done for the rest of the day? Why do you feel like you have to struggle? And so that's number 3. Number 3 is go back in time and find when you first developed that thought that led you to that belief. Did you see something as a child? Did someone tell you something? Did you experience something? What was the source? So the source, she says she remembers watching her parents struggle, working nonstop to support us as a young immigrant family. I kept hearing the phrase, if you work really hard, Catherine, you will be successful, over and over again. This thought played on repeat and eventually became a belief. I ended up only receiving money from working hard and struggling. And this is what I experienced with my dad. My dad worked his butt off and kept telling me if I stop, all of this will go away. He would actually make me feel his hands. He would sit me down in the office and he'd say, feel my hands, feel my hands. And I'd feel his hands and they'd be all like cracked and hard. And he'd say, this is from working hard. My blood, sweat, and tears goes into this business. And if I stop, all of this goes away. All of this, and would stretch out his arms and in his big office, and he'd show me all this goes away if I stop working, and instilled that in me. Work hard, go get it, work hard. And I'm glad he did, because that's why I am the way I am. And that's why I have my hustle and my natural drive. But you can see that that limiting belief is definitely what has held me back. So number 4 is ask yourself what the benefits have been of holding on to this belief. How has holding on to this belief actually served you? She says, trust me, it is serving you in some way if you keep believing it. We need to uncover this. So the benefits of this, the benefits of holding on to this belief are that it would always keep me productive. I will always feel like I need to keep working, and thus I will get a lot of stuff done. And that's true. If you feel like you have to work 18 hours a day, you're probably going to accomplish a lot of stuff. You're probably going to get a lot of stuff done. So you are thinking that you will be better and you'll be more motivated. Number 5 is ask yourself what the consequences have been of holding on to this belief. What have you missed out on because of it? How painful are these consequences to you, and how ready are you for a change? So the consequences for her is that I will encounter burnout long before I even make the kind of money that I want. In fact, I am already experiencing burnout and I'm tired of working. Not only am I still broke, but now I'm tired too. I feel lost and exhausted. I'm missing out on all the fun in life and I am just over it. And I can relate to her a lot. I had this was my my realization in August when I had a panic attack, and I totally changed my entire business and everything I was doing. Every single thing that I was a part of, I pulled back out of. And I really just started evaluating, like, who am I? What do I want? And then in January or at the end of December, I fully let this belief go and said, I am no longer working like that. And I don't care if my paycheck goes down, and I don't care if we sign less people. I'm no longer doing that. I'm going to work this business and I'm going to do it to serve my life in other areas. And guess what? I'm working way less. I mean, I'm still working. I'm putting in a lot of hours because I'm doing stuff now for like my personal brand, and I'm making like a lot of video content. I'm going to release a course in a couple of weeks. So I'm like prepping for that. But it's actually going to be a branding course to teach you how to discover your own brand, which is going to be super cool. But so I'm working a lot with that, but that's more like passion stuff that I want to do. As far as Q goes, I'm working way less hours in Q, like way less hours in Q. And guess what? My volume is the exact same that it's been over the last couple of months. So like, I'm still getting the same results, and I'm just not focusing so much on the hard work of pushing myself into the positions and like just keep working. I need to put in the hours. I need to just work more. Instead, I was like, these are the things that I want to get done today. And if I can get them done in an hour, then I can be done working. But if it's going to take me 6 hours, then that's how long it takes me. So number 6, ultimate truth or just a story. So is there an ultimate truth here, or is it just a story? Find as many reasons as you can to prove to yourself the falsehood of this limiting belief. So her asking herself, like, is this true or false? Her belief of working super hard and having to struggle in order to earn money is false. She says, I have watched some of my friends earn money by doing really easy work, working only 20 hours a week. I have run into online entrepreneurs who earn most of their money through passive income. I have heard of investors who live off of their investments, travel around the world, and hardly work at all. I can see how there is no truth to my limiting belief. There are people that are squashing this, that are eliminating this. Number 7, and then there's one more. Number 7 is, what would the universe, this is like my favorite one. What advice would the universe or God tell you about this belief? So if you were having coffee with God or the universe, or plug in whoever you want, and you were like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling so bad. I'm working crazy hours, 18, 19, 20 hours a day. And I'm just so worried that if I slow down, everything's going to go away and all my hard work's going to be done. And I just don't know what to do. What is the advice that they would tell you to do? And I think that that's super cool. So the perspective of the universe, she says, the universe would tell me to stop detaching work from money. The universe would tell me to slow down and be purposeful with my work. I am a child of God and deserve all the abundance in this world. Money doesn't come from hard work. It's a flow of energy that we just need to tune into and attract into our lives. Money comes through the value we put out in the world. The truth is that money is an unlimited resource that's always flowing my way. I can choose to work hard or hardly work at all. I will keep receiving money no matter what because I am already infinitely valuable to the world. And that is so true. And then the last one is number 8. Choose a new thought and create a new story that empowers you. And she kind of gives you instructions on how to do that. So her new thought or truth is money is an unlimited resource that is always flowing my way through expected and unexpected challenge, regardless of how many hours of work I put in. And then she says, do you see how this works? It's actually so easy to reframe every single story we keep telling ourselves. So I want to know for you guys, what is your limiting belief that you feel like you need to squash?
Can I share?
Yes.
So for me, it wasn't necessary. It was a limiting belief in the sense of what you were saying about how we grow up and how we're programmed. Like I watched my dad work a job he hated for my entire life. And he did it literally just to support his family, and he just did the thing, went to work, came home, like no passion, no drive, no fire, no anything. It was just literally working. And so when I went into the workforce, when I grew up, that's what drove me. I was like, okay, I have a kid now. Like I was a teen mom. I'm like, okay, I have a kid. I have to go to work. Like screw college. I can't go to school. I can't do anything. I have to work. That's what I have to do. And I spent a good portion of my life in that mindset. And honestly, it's been very, very recently that I've come to terms with the fact that that isn't true. And part of that mindset kept me in a place where I was afraid to spend money. I always had a lack mindset. Like I always felt like the money was going to run out. There was never going to be enough money because I grew up, fairly like low middle class. And so that was always in the back of my mind. And I was afraid to spend money, like literally afraid to spend money. When I let that belief go, the money just started coming in. When I found a way to not be afraid to spend money, to buy really expensive things and buy them for myself, especially because that was like the biggest thing for me. Like I wouldn't buy myself anything and not worry about it afterwards and not think about when I was going to return it. Because I would do that all the time. I would buy something for myself and then immediately I would keep all the packaging. I would keep the tags on it. I would think about returning it or how I was going to return it or how I was not going to keep it. Yeah. And when I stopped doing that, literally the floodgates opened up. I can't even tell you like the feeling of how insane it is. And now I literally don't think about money anymore at all. I don't get like money. And my mindset is that money is just energy. Like the dollar is literally just a piece of paper, but money, the exchange of money is just energy. Like I'm giving you something for something that I want. And, if you think back to, way back in the days when they used to like kill animals and use their hide to get things that they want with the whole bartering system and all of that, like that, it's the same thing. It's just an exchange, an energy exchange of I'm giving you something and in return, you're giving me something that I want. And that's the whole thing too about putting value on what you have. So if you have something that is of value that you can give to somebody else in exchange for something else that you want, it's the same thing as having money. It's the same thing as buying something. It's literally the same thing. And so I think when we stop putting the value on the money and putting our perception into the exchange of what you are giving to get to receive, that's when you will receive everything that you want.
That's so true about like just exchanging your value. It really is the same thing. And if you're just, yeah, I just recently was like, I don't want to give my sister money to do my lashes anymore. Like, I don't want to pay for them. I just don't want to pay for that like every other week. And so I was like, what is something that I could trade her for? And so now I trade her for products that I have. I have so many products at my house. And so now I trade her for that, for her doing my lashes. So it's like the same thing. I'm not like stressed out because I don't know if I'm going to have more bartering chips coming my way. Like, you know, it's like we care so much about money. Like, why?
I used to do that with a friend of mine who was a hairdresser. She would do my hair, and she was like really bad with like computers and technology and stuff. And so like they moved into a new house, and she was like, can you come set up like my whole like internet stuff? Like, so she's like, would do my hair for me. She would cut my hair and stuff. And then I would go and like do something for her. And like, we would not pay each other. I mean, her, what I would normally pay for, it was her job, like what she did, what she asked me to do in exchange for that. I was like, yeah, I would do that for free because whatever, it's no big deal to me. Right.
Yeah.
And that was part of me, you know, like what we were all talking about today. And I think a lot of what everybody feels when going through that exercise yesterday of thinking of the things that you can bring value to.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of those things because some of those things are just like no big deal, right? Like I'm like, okay, well, setting up internet to me is super duper easy. I would never charge somebody for that. And it's kind of like the whole time that I was with Beachbody, I had a huge issue with charging people money to coach them. And that's part of the reason why I was not successful with that company, was because like I would bring people in and literally coach them for free all the time. And I ran challenge groups every single month for 21 days at a time. And I would coach people for free, literally for free. And, you know, I did meal plans. You know, I was giving them content and value every single day. And I never charged anybody because I didn't feel like what I was doing, like it was easy for me to do it. And so I didn't feel like I felt bad about charging people for that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that was like a huge limiting belief that I've had to overcome. It was hard. And I still like at some point, you know, think about that. Like right now I'm trying to like push my brand back into the health and fitness and nutrition side. And I, you know, completely outside of Q, but like to point my brand in that direction so that I can actually start coaching people again in that way and receive money for it.
Right.
Not for free, because I know that what, you know, what doing the value that I was given, there is a dollar amount for a value, you know, there is value in some of that stuff. Even, you know, you saying like, oh, I can't meal prep. Like I've never meal prepped. And for me, it's so easy. Like I literally just don't even have to think about it. I can just do it. But, you know, it took me some time to get to that point. I didn't just like wake up one day and was like, oh, I know how to meal prep.
Right.
You know, it took me a lot of time, my own time, and you know, and research and figuring out, you know, how to do it, what things to buy, and, you know, all of that stuff. So there is value in some of the little things that we do that we don't even realize that we can give to somebody else, that it doesn't come easy to them.
Yeah, it's like almost like you need someone to point it out in you too, or someone to just like kind of brainstorm with you to find out these ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really like the starting point for me. Like the thing that I'm most passionate about, like the most, is empowering people to think for themselves and go out and figure out what they want to do in this world and then go do it. Like, what are, like, if someone's like, I hate my job. Okay, well, what would you like to do? What are you good at? What kind of experiences do you have? Like, it's kind of going through this last part of this book to figure this out. This is kind of what she's doing, is helping you to open up your mind to see that there are so many other options out there. There are so many things that you can be doing that will bring you so much joy and feel so aligned. I like, just yesterday was flooded with this just feeling of gratitude when I was talking to John on the phone, and then we were getting ready to get off the phone, and I told him, I said, you know what's so crazy? That when you just like surrender, you just like give it up. Like, okay, just give it up already. Like, come on, like, stop holding on to this. When you just surrender and just like lay it all out there, and and for us, we were like, well, for me, and then he kind of followed, but I was like, I'm just gonna live for God. Everything that God tells me to do, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to question it. I truly believe that he already knows our future. He knows that he has a way better plan than us, way better plan than we ever could come up with. And so I'm like, isn't it crazy? Like, once you just surrender, how much better life is? Like, right now, I feel the happiest I've ever felt. I would actually say, and I said this to John, I'm like, I would say that probably about a week ago is when I officially overcame my mental health struggles. Like, I feel like I am finally out of this weird depression, funk, anxiety thing that I've been in for the last year. I feel like I'm officially like totally out. I see things through a new set of eyes. I am happy. I feel like I have so much abundance. I have so much, and you know what? I'm actually making less money than I was before. How crazy is that? And I feel way better than I ever felt. And when I hit platinum and then was getting those bonuses on top of it, some of my checks were like $22,000, $23,000. And I'm telling you what, you guys, I would take my $8,000 gold check every single day over that check. I promise you I would. Like, I don't want that check back if it came with how my life used to be. Like, that was not okay for me. I was not going into a good place. And so when you just like let go, like stop worrying so much, stop being in so much fear, stop comparing yourself. Just start figuring out what you were created for. Like, when God put talents and experiences and things in you, what was it for? Are you an artist? Are you someone that is so creative and you're just this artist at heart, but you work in a factory? Well, that's not going to make your soul feel like it's on fire. That's going to make you feel like you're drowning. You're totally not doing what you were designed to do and who you were designed to be. So it's like, what are you created for? What kind of passions do you have? Who are the generations that you feel drawn to? Who are those people that you want to talk to? Oh, my mail lady is here and I wanted to give her a package. Dang. Better luck next time. And it's just like, this is like what I think that so many people are just like worried about the negative emotions in life, and they never just take a breath to think like, what do I want to do? Or like, if there's something that you're like, man, that would be so cool. Like Kala, we were talking the other day, and everything we invite her to, she's like, oh, I have to work. Oh, I have to work. Oh, I have to work. Like every single thing. And we're like, we got to get you a different type of hours job, still doing what you love, but like just having some flexibility so you don't have to miss out in life. And then we were talking about labor and delivery nurses, and she was like, oh my gosh, that's like my dream. And so Kala, since I found that out, I'm like going to put in applications for you. Like, I'm not going to let you walk away from that dream, because I'm like, if you guys ever met Kala, she is like created to be around babies, like literally created to be around babies, created to like be motherly and she's so comforting and would be amazing welcoming a baby into this world as she's your nurse. And I'm sure that that would be so fulfilling and amazing for you, Kala. So it's like, let's do it. Like, what's going to make you feel so happy and aligned and wake up and feel happy to be alive and excited to live your life? And then just go do it. So I'll take these pictures of these 8 processes so we can put in there. So you can like journal this a little bit and write some things down. She also says sometimes to meditate beforehand to identify what you really need to work through, which is exactly what April just said. Close your eyes and think like, what is my block? What is holding me back? And just be quiet and think, and then have a pen and paper there so you can write stuff down as it comes to your mind. She says, just trust your gut. And then she has this fun update, which is cool to see this. I'm glad she put this in there. She said, since I've written this, it's been 2 entire years, and I've worked through my limiting belief completely. At that time it was written, I was working literally 18-hour days, drowning in $25,000 in debt and making about $400 a week. Clearly, the time for money exchange was already a little out of whack here. Today, I spend about 2 to 3 hours a day working. And then she puts in parentheses, seeing clients and creating content for her website. And I earn over $200,000 of my monthly income as passive income. I work significantly less, as you can see, yet I have never been more financially free. The hours worked equals money earned equation was a complete fluke. It was just a rule that I created for myself that manifested into my reality. And then she says, this stuff really works. Eliminate what's holding you back and your life takes shape around the new story you create. It's not magic. It's manifesting and it's creating your own reality. And yeah, so I'll post those things in there because, man, I think that this is going to be huge. Day 18, she talks about scripting. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And I can't believe we're almost done with this book. This is like so cool. I can't wait. It's like getting better and better as we get towards the end. So for you guys who haven't gotten your money yet. Oh, this is what I want to tell you too. So as I was talking to John yesterday on the phone, he told me, he said, babe, you're like, you wouldn't even believe this. My phone rings off the hook all day for people wanting me to come bid jobs for them and quote jobs. And he's like, I can't even keep up. The amount of jobs that are coming in are so crazy. He's like, I just sold another $200,000 job again today. And I said, wait, how much was it? He said 200,000. He makes 10% commission off of everything he sells. And so I was like, okay, that's literally the $1,000 that I manifested. Like that's more, I mean, way more than that. But I'm like, okay, and he's like, this isn't even it. Like I've had these all week long, like just so many have been coming to us. And I like actually started to cry. And that's when I said, isn't it so crazy when you just stop fighting and surrender and let it happen? So the money wasn't coming into my pocket because listen how cool the universe is. The universe and God knew that I wouldn't be able to manage the $1,000 coming in. I wouldn't be able to receive it because I am not orderly and I wasn't taking care of the money that I already had. So God's like, okay, don't put any more on this poor girl's plate. Like she can't handle what she has. She is like drowning over here. She's working through her own stuff, but let's give it to her husband because he can hold on to it. He can receive it. He isn't thinking about it right now because I took that stress off of him. Because I needed him to stop blocking it so that I could believe it. And then I needed to get orderly and then he was going to receive it. Like I knew that that's the exchange that was going to happen. And that's exactly what happened. So we did get our money. We did have over $1,000 extra given to us, over the last time. So I knew it was there. I just needed to see and just receive it and be open enough to receive it. April, are you going to say something? Yeah.
Yeah. So when she writes in there that like we make up our own like rules, like basically DP used to say this to me all the time, like you like him talking to me, like, you make up these rules in your head of like what it's supposed to be. And like, that's not how, that's not it. Like, there are no rules, like how we're supposed to live life. Like everyone thinks like, go to a 9 to 5 job, earn your paycheck, come home. And like, that's just like what's embedded in our head. So sometimes it's just stop believing like what is embedded in your head, like from your own, like you make your own rules, like, I don't know, like you're not supposed to do that. I can't really think of a good example right now, but,
Oh, I mean,
like just anything, like you tell your kids like, don't do that. And they're like, why? And you're like, I don't know. Cause you're not supposed to do that.
yeah.
Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't really think of a good example, but I wanted to say like that part of it was huge. Like, stop like making rules that are like hurting you, Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's good when you have someone in your life that can help you kind of pull you out of your beliefs and kind of point them out. So yeah, I'm excited to do this on Facebook with a bunch of people because I've been talking to them about it. I think it's going to be super good. The last thing I want to say is that don't forget about the Bloom community. That is really going to be life changing for a lot of us. And so you comment on every day that's posted. So if you haven't went on there and commented yet, please do so. Remember, the more you interact with all of the blog posts and comment below, the better that this is going to go, because if people start seeing that other people are being vulnerable and open, then they're going to feel like they can be vulnerable and open. And that's what we want in this community, is for people to have that. So make sure you go check it out. Tonight, there's an opportunity call with myself. And if you have anyone that you need to get off the fence, anyone that's maybe checked out this opportunity before, but they haven't actually stepped forward to do it, invite them on my call tonight. And I would be more than happy to talk after or tomorrow, like in a 3-way with them, if they want to talk to me more. Even if you're not on my team specifically, I totally do not mind. But use this and invite some people. If all you do today is your homework for your money manifesting and your IPA sheet, and actually on your IPA sheet, if you just invited, like followed up with maybe 10, 20 people that have been on the fence and ask them, hey, what are you doing tonight? There's someone's story I want you to hear. And just get them on and see what happens if you invite 10 people following up and invite them on my call tonight, and see what happens if they sign up. So that's it. Invite 10 people and do your assignment. I'll post it in the chat, but I hope you guys have an amazing day. I'll see you tonight on the opportunity call. And thanks for being on. Bye.